Hi, this is Lisa Mae DeMacy with another EQUUS Film Festival web chat, here with accomplished equestrian artist Kamron Coleman. Welcome, Kamron.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm really excited to visit with you today.
Kamron, your art career spans 3 decades in most mediums, but the first time you tried oil was 3 years ago to help raise funds for a symphony orchestra. Can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Yeah, thank you. I began my art career as a permanent gallery artist in my early 20s and had my own business as a stonemason. Most of my artwork ended up being built into homes, and I didn't really focus too much on my general art career because I didn't really like the art industry. And my feelings toward it are still pretty ambivalent. I like working more directly with the client and with the customer than with the gallery kind of dynamic. And so I'm a natural with commission work. And I married my wife, Bethany Evans, about 4 years ago, and she's a world-class musician in her own right. She's a harpist, and she performs with many of Oregon's symphonies here. And so I moved to Oregon to marry her and to be a groupie of her and her symphonies, of which I hadn't had previous exposure. And artistically, the symphony just took my breath away, and especially Bethany with her heart. And I love the dynamic, collaborative, just beautiful visually what the symphony is. And so I did a painting, a spray painting of Bethany with her harp in the symphony, and the executive director saw it and said, we could use this. And we talked about ways that we could raise money for the symphony, because symphonies they can't make it just with ticket sales. They need a lot of other funding. And so I loved that idea, but I didn't think that I could accomplish what I wanted to do with a specific symphony with spray paint. And so I tried oil painting for the first time. And that painting was Salem Symphony, which got a lot of immediate attention and put me on a track to be completely obsessed with oil painting. And in the first 2 years, I painted some 15 symphonies across the US and raised money for them, including I painted Chicago Symphony, Nashville Symphony, Wichita Symphony was one of my favorite programs. Did Rogue Valley Symphony in Oregon, Salem Orchestra. I did a couple speculative pieces of Oregon Symphony, Walla Walla Symphony, to name a few. There are more, and each symphony is different, and so each fundraising program was different for them. But in general, when I do fundraising, I like to provide the art for free, and then we split proceeds that we can raise from that. Which brings us to Derby Day, because I had hoped to start. I had heard of work that's done with horses to help people with rehabilitation. And that really got my attention. And so I thought I would do a speculative piece involving horses that might help me meet some people that could help me to raise money for people who use horse therapy. And that's what started this project here.
And that's what's behind you. Derby Day, beautiful.
Yeah, Derby Day. It was. It started out as just a small idea, and very quickly it became a major, probably the major piece that I've ever done.
And aside from what you're talking about right now, was there a certain person that inspired you to paint Derby Day?
Yeah, my uncle Don Coleman was one of my best friends in my life. And when I quit drinking, that friendship suffered. And yet I miss him very much. I wanted to express my love for him. And I went with him and his family to watch the horse races in Long Acres in Washington State many years ago. And I just had a feeling of sentimentality for what an amazing experience that was and how that started my friendship with Don. And that kind of mixed and meshed with this idea of working with horses and fundraising. So, and then the painting took on a life of its own.
And the timing of the painting also was very interesting.
The timing is very critical to this project. I had drawn it on the canvas and had put down a couple of the first layers of a diluted oil paint when COVID hit. And I had drawn hundreds of people into the stands. And I'd never really painted something where I really got in there and painted every individual person. And suddenly the crowd meant at least as much as the race, because suddenly there were no crowds, there were no gathering. And as everybody knows, that hit everyone right in the gut and very psychologically. And I thought, you know, I have to paint every one of these people that I can paint, because them standing near each other is of tremendous meaning all of a sudden. And so the painting has a lot going on, and it's very optimistic. It's very full of power and glory, and it's full of really a lot of other things were happening in the United States at the same time that I started this painting.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden there's questions of law, there's questions of our complex racial history in the United States, which the Kentucky Derby, because it's the longest running athletic event in the United States, it has been there reading about that and trying to understand what the Kentucky Derby is. And the Kentucky Derby is a symbol of the United States. And it's not an idealized symbol. It's one that has tension, combat, violence, beauty. Everything that America is, the Kentucky Derby has in it. And so that's what this painting became. And I ended up putting more time, more research into this than anything I'd ever previously done. And the response was also more overwhelming than anything I had previously done. And it just so happened that I was making a video, an introductory video, at the same time I started this painting. And I had that crew back 5 times.
Wow.
To continue filming. And it put a lot of pressure on me to make something good, if I could. And the whole thing was documented, you know, by video, which was extremely fortunate as well. And so I think that this painting is started with a kind of idea of something meaningful to me, and it just became something representative of America, of the world, of so many elements that make up our complex people.
Mm-hmm.
And not even so much about the horse, which is really what you'd think it was going to be about. And it really became more about all of us instead of just the horses featured.
Really amazing. Thank you for going into all that detail. And that was definitely from the artist's point of view.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think when I released it, there was something that connected for people that saw it in the same way. Like I think when people saw it, they also thought there was more going on than what I set out to do.
It's amazing. Is there anything more that you could tell us about your work, or how we can find you online to see and learn more about your work?
Yeah, thank you. My work covers many genres, and what I've heard said about my work, which I like to hear, is that it's less about me. Like when you see the painting, you don't necessarily see Kamron Coleman. You see the subject. And I think lots of times we see the artist's mind. I'm not really into that too much. I mean, that's part of art and a really intrinsic and important part. But I want to express the subject and let the subject speak and come out. And so that's why I like commission work, is because anybody that I work with, I get to learn about them. I get to learn about what they really love deeply. And that broadens my life and my horizon and my understanding. And that's the most rewarding thing for me about being an artist, isn't expressing my insights, because we really don't want to see all that. You know, we want to see the symphony as they see themselves, and someone with their horse as they see themselves and their horse. You know, and the other thing I would say about my work that I think is pretty fundamental is that it's all religious. All of my work has a light, an inner light that it's trying to illuminate beyond itself. And so there's a lot of religious material in my art, and that's really what makes me tick the most, is just this belief in this light that can spread and illuminate things around us. And I believe that we really get that out of collaboration. So, and then people can find me at KamronColeman.com, KamronColeman.com. And I have a web store where people can purchase originals and prints. And if you think that I might be a person you would like to work with to commission a painting, that's what I really like to do. I like to do fundraising, and yeah, wonderful. I would like to work with you. And,
really great.
And this is really looking forward to working with EQUUS as well.
Wonderful.
And thank you for me today.
Wonderful to talk to you. Any last words?
You know, I think we covered quite a bit. I'm just grateful and optimistic, and let's keep things going.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kamron. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
It's my pleasure, Lisa. Have a great day.
Thank you.
One of the relationships I cherish most in my life is my friendship with my Uncle Don. That relationship began with an invitation to join his family at Longacres in Washington State to watch Steal a Look run in the day's last race. I remember the announcer's voice being overcome by the mighty crescendo of the crowd. The Kentucky Derby is a symbol of timelessness and endurance. It predates electricity and manned flight, and it thunders fearlessly into the future under the strength of this magnificent and elegant beast that is the thoroughbred horse. This painting is about tremendous power, suspended in the arc of time like a snapshot. In the next minute, anything could happen, even in the next fraction of a second.